Hey, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? This is Rob with Instinct Bassin, and Happy New Year, almost. In today's video, we're going to go over how to basically start using a fish finder and then narrow it down and how to actually use it to catch fish. It's going to be a little bit of basic video for those that may be more experienced with a fish finder. Hopefully you'll still get some good useful info out of it, but this is mainly for somebody who just got a fish finder for Christmas, say like this Garmin 106 SV, and then doesn't really know where to begin or where to start. And so that's what we're going to kind of go over today. A couple of housekeeping tips before we get started. Be sure to check out the gpsstore.com. They've got some great deals going on fish finders, and in fact they actually end today. This is December 31st as we are recording this, so be sure to check them out if you can, if you haven't gotten a fish finder yet, and it'll definitely help out the channel. Also, if you are around the age of 40 or over 40, definitely make sure you get your colon cancer screening. I've been saying that for the last few videos, and I like to keep that going. If I can just get one or two people to go get that screening done, hopefully we can save a life. So be sure to get that done as well. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to get started, what I normally do first when I first say I just got a fish finder and I'm trying to figure out how to use it, what to do first, where to go, that type of thing. To get started, I've just put this on a lake that I'm pretty familiar with, but it's a big lake. This is Lake Lanier in Georgia, and it's over 30,000 acres. And so I wanted to kind of go over how we go about just breaking down this big body of water to get started. What I would normally do is go on Google Earth and look at waypoints, do research and all that, which is way more involved than this video is going to be. But maybe transfer some waypoints over to the fish finder, and I've done a video on that as well, and I'll leave that link down below. But let's say we've narrowed it down to this area right here. And so what I'll normally do is start out with my map and go in. You can do this from your garage like I am here, and just start marking waypoints, or like I said, bringing them over from Google Earth, and then just narrowing down. We're trying to basically, if you envision the lake as a funnel, we're starting out at the top of the funnel, and then we're going to narrow it down all the way down to the bottom when we start getting started actually fishing. And so what I'll do is, the widest view that you're going to get is of the map itself, the lake map itself. And these 106 SV Ultra units have some great detail maps right out of the box, as you can see. And so we'll look at things like this is a creek channel intersection right here. And then it goes from 99 feet of water to 42 feet of water, and then there's a hump over here that's right next to a creek channel. So just identify these areas that will usually hold bass, or because that's what I like to fish for, but they'll hold other species as well. Points like this, just identify these spots on your map first, and then go to those spots again, incorporating Google Earth as well. And so using the map is how I will first get started with any fishing trip, even if it's a lake that I know of. Like this area right here, it looks really nice. Creek bed with a hump coming off a point. I've got these marked with my depth shading. That's what those areas are, those shadings. And so that's one of the areas that I would also look for as well. Or one of the features I would start doing as well is turn on your depth shading, whether you've got a Garmin or Lowrance or Humminbird or whatever unit you have. It's most likely going to have that feature in it. So identify what depth you want to fish, and then mark those depths, and then start narrowing it down. Obviously I'm not going to fish in 84 feet of water typically, but maybe I will in 20 feet, and that's what these marks are done. So that's the first thing that I would do to get started. Okay, and then moving on down that funnel like I described a second ago, now that we've narrowed down what area of the lake we're going to fish, we want to start narrowing it down even further. And so this is when I would typically start driving around those areas with my side view, because aside from the map itself, the side view is going to give us your biggest field of view or your widest field of view. I've described it in a couple of other videos, like two big flashlights sitting out the side of your boat. Sorry, my dog's barking there. And basically scanning out to either side. And that's what we're going to be looking at with this side view. And so you can set the side view, obviously your range right here, and then start looking for structure along those areas that we've identified on the map itself. So I would typically go from the map to then go down to side view and start marking some of these waypoints, like these fish right here or this rock right here, and then identifying those areas that I'd like to fish. You mark them, and then it goes onto the map itself. And if you've got two fish finders, of course, or more, you can network them together, and then that waypoint is going to be on the other fish finders as well. So going from the map itself down to side view is where my next step would be. All right, and then once I've marked those waypoints using side view and gone in on the map to make sure I'm actually over them, I'll then narrow it down even further and go to either the 2D sonar or the clear view. Now, clear view is what Garmin calls it. Downscan is going to be what I believe Humminbird calls it. And so it just depends on what the brand is, brand fish finder you've gotten. But we'll use Garmin this because that's what I have here. This is called clear view. And so now I'm going to start narrowing down these features. And since I've marked them, it's that waypoint is still going to be, you can actually even split the screen and use a map on one side and this view, side view, or I'm sorry, clear view on the other side, and then make sure you're over where you're looking. And you're going to use this just to verify what you've seen on side view and to break down that picture even further. So now we're down, halfway, 3/4 down the way of that funnel that I was describing, to narrowing down where you're going to fish, what you're going to fish for, and that type of thing, and what bait you're going to use and all that. And so going from the map to side view and now to either 2D sonar or clear view. And the difference between those two is that 2D sonar is going to have a wider cone than clear view will. Clear view will give more detail, of course, because it has that narrower cone. So you may even want to start out with 2D sonar and then go to clear view from there if you want to narrow it down even further like that. And before we moved on to the next one, I wanted to point out what I was talking about as far as a combination screen. So this is a combo of the map and then of clear view. So after you've narrowed it down using the map, in the big screen, you narrow it down to side view, and then you go to this screen right here, this split screen, and it'll help you narrow down that spot that you want to fish even further. All right, and then that gets us on to the next one, which is going to be your live scope or your Panoptix, or whichever brand you have. It's going to be called something different. Now, I'm not going to assume that everybody has this, because it does add in another, realm, if you will, of money spent. But going from those clear view areas, the next logical step is going to be live scope, which is going to give you that field of view out in front of the boat, if you will. So for instance, this is some kind of structure that we've identified already using our map, map to find the area. And then we use our side view to find the structure itself. Then we use our down view to verify what we've seen on side view, that it's actually there. And then once we've marked it, now keep in mind, we've already marked all these points. Now we're using live scope to actually view what's on that structure. And so we've now come down, way down that cone of that funnel, if you will. And now we've really identified a spot that we want to fish. And now we can really start fishing and going in for that spot. If you don't have live scope, then you're probably going to need to stop at the clear view and use a combination of that side view and clear view, or down view, whatever, down scan, whatever it's called, on your unit, and just work from those, and which is totally feasible. People have done that for decades, and just recently we've started incorporating live scope as well. And so that's just some of the functions that you're going to use, going from the map itself all the way down to using the live scope or forward-facing sonar, depending on what brand you have. And guys, that's going to do it for this video. Real short one, just on how to go from you're using a big picture down to narrowing down what and how to use your fish finder. It's obviously can get a lot more in depth in this video, so be sure to check out some other videos as well. I've got a big playlist on Garmin fish finders if you've got one of those units. Appreciate you stopping by. Definitely appreciate it if you give a subscribe and a like if you like what you saw here. This is Rob with Instinct Bassin. Again, be sure to check out the GPSstore.com to help out the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Trust your gut, and I'll see you on the water.